Hey YouTube, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you're back. If you don't know me, my name is JD Savage. I'm a six-figure affiliate marketer. What I do is I teach people to make money here on YouTube. My channel is Imperfect Millionaires. That's my channel as well as my business. What do I mean? I mean that I have been a coach and a consultant going on 30 years now, and Imperfect Millionaires is my business as well as my YouTube channel. What I do specifically is I take platforms in the affiliate marketing arena, I vet those platforms, I go make money with those platforms, I make sure those platforms do what they say they're going to do. Then I build out a course and or a series, and I put it here on YouTube, and I do not sell it to you. It's free. It's all right here. This course here is a high ticket course. This ticket here is a low ticket course, and they're both free. You can review them, see what you think about them. If you like them, you can pull the trigger and start making money online as an affiliate. Apologies, my voice is a little rough today. But what we're here to talk about today isn't so much that. So I have a 180-day challenge going right now that is also free. No, it is not a couple of videos to show you, to introduce you to a boot camp that I'm going to charge you $5,000 for. It's literally free. If you want to know more about that, check out these videos here and go up here. And my little Facebook group is over here. You're welcome to join my Facebook group. And it is a private group, so you just submit the application and we'll approve you and bring you on in. What we're doing right now is we're going through some videos and getting people comfortable with the idea of doing this right here, of creating content, of doing the things that they need to do in order to be successful as a affiliate marketer online and create an income to support themselves, their family, and whatever they choose, really, right? Once you got the money, you can do whatever you want with it. And that brings me to the topic of today. So during this 180-day challenge, we've just started out and we're running it on the Facebook group. We're doing some videos. Really common feedback that I get, and I'm not surprised, guys. Like I said, I've been a coach and a consultant for a long time. And one of the things that I encounter, and that's the title of this, video, is kind of the number one killer of affiliate marketers, is we have this level of expectation. You might see that, and if you've been following my channel for a while, you might see my channel and go, "Oh wow, I don't know how I could do that. I don't know how he does that. I can't imagine presenting." You see other people on YouTube, you see people in front of cameras and on stages and public speaking and that kind of thing. And listen, if that makes you nervous, that's what I'm making this video about, right? I'm reaching out to you to see if I can't lend a hand, maybe helping you get through some of that, work through some of that, because really what it's all about is just your own self, right? And I'm not going to sit here and tell you, just think positive and everything will be okay. I realize that sometimes that feels like a load of crap. And sometimes, I wouldn't say, well, maybe I will. Thinking negative maybe sometimes helps, right? So I'm going to go into that right now. If this is the kind of topic you're interested in, listen up, because I'm going to kind of expand on it. I'm going to try to keep this video as reasonable as possible in terms of the length of the video, because I want to keep your attention. But I also want you to really focus in, and please listen up. I've done this for a long time. I've helped a lot of people with this topic, including my own self. So if you like this kind of content, drop me a like on this video. Subscribe to the channel and tick the bell icon so you're notified. If you want to know more about affiliate marketing in and of itself outside of mindset, then check out some of the other videos that I showed you in the courses that I put on here. This series here is all about mindset. That's all it's about, okay? And that's probably where this video will end up, either there or here, okay? But you'll be able to find it. What I want to talk about today is when you see people doing things like what I'm doing right now, all it boils down to, guys, really is your willingness to take action and be uncomfortable. Because I wish I could tell you it's going to be comfortable, it'll be fine, think positive, all that stuff. It just sounds like nonsense to somebody that's nervous, right? It just sounds like nonsense to somebody that is thinking about doing this. They go through, and this is the biggest hurdle. This is what brought me to this video, is I'm doing this 180-day challenge. I've got this Facebook group going on. There's people in the Facebook group that see other people making videos, but they're not quite comfortable yet to make videos. There's some people making videos, but they're not super comfortable doing it, and they're wondering if they're ever going to get comfortable doing it. The answer is yes, you will. If you continue to execute. That's the biggest thing, is just continue to execute, right? An example I've used before is for any of you that have kids or have ever seen a kid when a baby is little and they start learning how to walk, right? They try, they crawl, they stand up, they fall down, they stand up, they fall down. At what point do you look at the baby and say, hey, you know what? You've tried like 500 times, you've fallen down, just lay on the floor for the rest of your life and forget about it. Does that sound ridiculous? It does sound ridiculous, doesn't it? And that's my point. Never. You know what moms say about their babies? They're going to try until they learn. And that's awesome. But then that same mother will be nervous about getting on and creating a video, creating a short, creating a reel, talking in front of an audience, right? And why? Why is she nervous? Well, she's nervous because of social conditioning. She's nervous because of what other people might think. She's nervous because of what her own circle of friends might say, right? She's nervous because, well, we've been conditioned to be nervous. We've been conditioned to behave in a certain way, and our pack accepts us in that way, right? I don't want to get too esoteric here, but I've spent a lot of my life focused on social narrative and its effects on people. And mainly your ability, our ability as humans to break out of that social narrative. And I don't mean be rebellious for no evident reason. I mean to be able to behave in a way that suits who we want to be, how we want to perceive ourselves, number one, and how we want to be perceived by others, number two. The biggest hurdle that we have there, generally, is our own environment, right? If people are used to having us behave in a certain way, then guess what happens? We tend to behave that way. And if we behave differently, then we tend to make those people uncomfortable, right? So here's the thing when I say think negative. Does it serve you? Sometimes. But here's the reality that you really got to break down. People's judgment and people's perception is just that. It's their judgment and their perception. Have you ever been judgmental in your life? I know I have. I'm not proud of it, but I know I have, right? Have I ever been judgmental? 100% I have. Right. And I'm not proud of it. I wish I could say I'd never done that, but I certainly have. You know, was it intentional on my part to make somebody else feel unhelped, unloved, whatever term you want to put on it, right? No, it wasn't my intention. Was it malicious? No, it wasn't malicious. But did I do it? Even with all of the things and the way I've spent my life and helping and training and doing and working on myself and all that stuff, it still happens. So guess what? It's going to happen with the people in your environment and with the people that care about you. That's the important part to realize. But the next piece is probably the most important, right? And here's what it boils down to. They're not the problem. They're really not the problem. All they're doing is looking at you going, hey, you know, I'm concerned, I'm worried, right? I mentioned this in another video. There's people that are just completely toxic, and there's people that are just worried about you, right? And people say, oh, just cut all those people out of your life. I think that's a little bit of nonsense, right? Toxic people, sure. Why? Because toxic people are happy it's you. They want to see you fail. They want you to experience pain. You don't want those people in your life. But worried people, you know, the example I gave before, if I told my mom, hey, I'm going to go jump out of an airplane with a parachute, which I have, by the way, multiple occasions, she's going to be worried, right? She's going to be worried. Same as if I told her to this day, I'm starting this new business. Well, but you're doing so good with what you're doing. Why would you want to add something else, right? It's just normal behavior for people that care about us. So first of all, define those things. Second of all, really take a look at your own self, because you're the problem, right? And I don't mean that in a negative way at all. What I mean is the power, the gravity that you give their opinion, you're the problem. Here's why. Anything they think, do, or say can't actually stop you physically. The only thing that can physically stop you is you and your perception or the merit that you give to what their opinion is. Don't we have example after example after example after example after example, if you seek them now? That's important. Throughout history of people overcoming insurmountable odds, perhaps far greater than the odds of a disapproving spouse or a disapproving mother or father or group of friends, right? Far greater, right? Far greater. The human capacity to overcome insurmountable odds is amazing if you seek it. But see, you got to start internalizing those types of things. Like these words that I'm saying to you. These aren't just words to me, right? I may seem pretty calm and pretty chill about it, but guess what? I'm serious. I am damn serious about what I'm telling you. And I mean it. It's in me. Why? Because I've lived it repeatedly. I mentioned earlier, you know, that I get that from people that are like, oh, I can never imagine doing what you do. I couldn't either at one point in time. Let me share this with you guys. Some of you know this, some of you don't. I was a dyslexic kid in school. I was the dumb kid. I was the kid that couldn't figure out until I was probably about 14 what the hell was wrong with me, right? Why couldn't I keep up? Why couldn't I do everything at the same rate? I was really good at math. I was really good at communication. I was really good at being disruptive in the classroom and making people laugh. But I did really poorly at a lot of my schoolwork. And it made me feel inferior. It made me feel like, what the hell is wrong with you, right? And I don't mean to get so deep, guys, but what I want to explain to you is the dumb kid now standing in front of you talking, I didn't have this confidence at one point in time, right? It came with time. It came with execution. So what I want to communicate is, listen, you really got to think about it. If you're in that situation where you're debating feeling confident, you're debating the idea that, well, I'd love to feel confident. It only comes with execution. It only comes with knowing what you're talking about, right? Here's the problem I run into is if people just did what I show you in these courses here and you just did it, just execute it, right? I say just, I understand, right? I'm asking you to do things that make you uncomfortable. But if you do those things, is there any doubt in your mind that if you continue to execute long enough and proficiently enough and you get better and better and better and better and better and better, that you're going to get what you want? You're going to get the income you want. You're going to have the lifestyle you want. There's no doubt in my mind. Why? Because I'm arrogant and I created them? No. Because these concepts I didn't create. These concepts are as old as human civilization. All it means, all I'm really showing you to do is how to create an audience, how to get in front of eyeballs, right? Because guess what? Here's the bottom line. If you don't get in front of eyeballs, if you don't get in front of people, if you don't communicate an opinion and find your new group of people, nobody knows who you are. Thus, what would you ever be paid for? Right? So is it comfort zone that we're talking about? Yeah. But I got to ask you something. If it's so damn comfortable, why do people complain about it all the time? You see what I'm saying? That language sucks. Oh, it's my comfort zone. Oh, you're comfortable? Cool, well, wallow in it then. If you're not comfortable, then what are you prepared to do about it? Are you prepared to be a little uncomfortable? To get comfortable? You see where I'm going? That's really what it boils down to. Only you have the power, right? And this comes back to that idea, well, yeah, you're saying think positive. No, I'm not saying think positive. As a matter of fact, a lot of times I don't think positive. I think social narrative sucks. And all it does really, it's the negative side of social narrative that fuels my fire. It's the negative side of social narrative that allows me to come out here and tell you I was a dyslexic dumb kid and know damn well that there's some people that are going to make fun of me, right? They are. It's okay. I don't actually care. Why? Because I have the life that I want. I mean, mostly, right? But I'm going to continue to expand. And that's the next piece of this is there's always levels of that comfort zone, right? Nonsense. But there's always levels of that comfort zone that you're going to have to exceed. And it's a stair step, just one step at a time. You don't jump from flight 1 when you're going upstairs to flight 40. You got to walk up them step by step. You might skip a few, but you ain't going to skip 40 flights of stairs. Ain't no way, right? And people say, well, take the elevator. Okay, well, what does that mean? Right? This is the elevator, right? It is still not easy. This is the elevator. I've done all of the homework. I've done all of the research. I've put it here. It's free. You don't have to buy a course. A lot of times that's what people say. Well, if I had the money to buy the course, no, well, you don't have to. Now what? It's all right there. If you just do those things and find your rhythm. But in order to find your rhythm, guys, you got to come out here on the field and you got to play. Despite what your neighbor thinks. Your mom, your dad, your spouse, your friends. You understand? And here's the reality. You don't even actually have to tell them. I've mentioned this in other videos. Typically, we tell people things around us because we want their support. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not implying that's wrong. I'm suggesting if you know they're not going to support you, do yourself a giant favor and don't tell them. I'm serious. Shut up. And I don't mean that in any kind of rude way. I mean that in the sense that if you know you're just buying yourself a problem and you're buying yourself hecklers, why would you do that? The internet's a giant place, right? The internet is a giant place. So listen, I've rambled on quite some time now, and I hope this is meaningful to some of you listening because this is the biggest obstacle that I see people face. They're like, well, if I didn't have to buy a course, okay, here it is. Oh, hey, that's great, but how do I go about doing that? Well, I explain how to go about it physically doing it. I show people how to actually create content. I show people how to actually use the little free apps and CapCut and all the stuff in there. But the hurdle that they're actually running into isn't the people around them. It's their own self. Their willingness to step outside of their comfort zone, right? I know it's annoying, comfort zone, look like a dork doing it, but I don't care. I'm trying to communicate to you that's all nonsense. What it really boils down to is your willingness to face a little bit of adversity that your group, your tribe may not approve of what you're doing. And maybe they do actually, and maybe they're just a little jealous they don't have the courage to do it. You ever think of that? And maybe you're just making them uncomfortable because they sold out on their dreams. They don't have the courage to do what you're doing. Or maybe they just don't understand it. And that's okay. Because here's what I'm going to tell you. There will come a time where you will run out of time. And none of us really know when that's going to be. But don't ever let it be said that you didn't get in and give it your best effort. That you gave a half-hearted effort. Because think about it. How will you feel at that point when you realize that you sold out on your own self, on your own dreams, on your own capacity for a bunch of people that have done nothing and sold out on themselves as well? Right? Is that a group you want to belong to? A group that groups together and they're like, hey, we're sellouts. Let's just all sell out on what we would like to have in our life because we're fearful of what each other thinks of each other. Doesn't that sound ridiculous when you put it that way? You see, it does to me. But I understand that most of us were raised with a social narrative, a social norm of how to behave and what the standard needs to be and how, let me ask you something. This right here, this is a little controversial what I'm doing. Do you really feel that there's anything wrong with it? Or do you think it's helpful and I mean it? Because see, in a lot of circles, some of my circles included, they don't watch my YouTube videos. They don't know what I'm talking about, right? And I don't go into it. You know why? They don't care. They don't want to hear it. They just want me to be who they perceive me as. Who I am goes far beyond the boundaries of how a lot of people perceive me that are around me. I see them all the time, right? But I also go outside of that and I build other circles of people who can have intellectual conversations, who care about things like this. And that's okay. Because something I'll point out to you guys, if you're not aware of this already, no one person is going to be everything in life. That includes your mate. That includes your mom, your dad, your best friend. No one person can be everything. And that's okay, right? There's groups of people that, I'll be honest, I think they're pretty small-minded, but I love them and they're good people. There's nothing wrong with them. I just don't go out and jump on a soapbox and try to change them. But I also don't share with them things like this. I mean, it's public. They're welcome to see it if they'd like to, but they have zero interest in it. So guys, that's really what I want to communicate today is please think about it. You know, take a list out, take a piece of paper out and write down what it is in your own mind, not other people. Don't blame outside sources because we all know they're already there. Okay. Think about your own self and what it is that you really register as thoughts. What goes through your mind when you think about doing something like this? If you're confident with it, cool. That's awesome. But if you're not confident with it, or even if you are trying it, but you don't come across as confidently as you would like to, write it down. Pardon me, write it down. Why? What is it? What's in your way? You think people are going to perceive you as not being knowledgeable? What's the solution? For each thing you list, also on one side of the page, draw a line down the middle. What's the solution on the other side? Right? And if you don't know, here's what I want you to ask yourself, a ridiculous question. I know I don't know, but if I did know, what would I say? Does that sound absurd to you? Because here's the problem. I can't go into this on this video too much, but I just want to point this out that realistically, guys, you do know. You know what's going on. You know what you're afraid of. You know what your insecurities are. If you're willing to admit to them, to yourself, right? There will come a time where you're willing to come on here on video and admit them. And I'm not suggesting you need to do that right now. Unless you're comfortable doing that, fine. But like I shared with you, I was the dumb dyslexic kid. There's a time I would have never told you that because I was so busy trying to cover up my insecurities, trying to be the class clown, trying to make everybody laugh, right? And try to cover up the fact that I felt insecure about my capacity to do what so many people around me could do. Right. Now here I am talking to you, not giving a damn how you judge it. That didn't happen overnight. That happened with practice and continued execution. Please understand that. That's what I'm saying. You have the same capacity, right? And I'm not suggesting I'm so great at this at all. What I am suggesting is I'm confident and I'm here. And I'm willing to face whatever may come as a result of doing this, right? Why? Because it means more to me to provide for my family, to get this message out to people that it might help you, than it does any critics that might ridicule me, any trolls that might have anything stupid or mean to say. I don't care. It's worth it. I don't even pay attention to it anymore. It's just disregarded. Was that the case always? Absolutely not. So guys, I'm going to end the video here. If you like this kind of content, drop me a like on this, tick the bell icon, and of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.